Hi, I'm Nikki with Top Stitch, and today we're going to talk about needles, one of the most important pieces to constructing your garment in sewing, whether it's clothing or a craft project. So let's talk about the variety. Sewcial is one of the leading companies in needle manufacturing, and you can go to their website and learn everything you need to know about needles. So here, the variety of needles we have. There's universal needles, I'm sure you're familiar with that. There's stretch needles, there's jersey needles, and then there's a pack that has variety of needles. So what you want to do is determine, what are you sewing? What fabric are you using? Are you using a stretch fabric? Using a woven fabric? Are you using a light stretch fabric or a heavy or medium? And the same with woven. Ask your machine and your fabric, what does it want? So with a universal needle, it's just as the word describes. It's pretty universal among most fabrics. You still need to test your fabric to see if that's what it wants. Universal needles do come in various sizes. Your stretch needle is used on stretch fabric. Your spandex, lycra, any fabric that has any stretch, whether it's two-way or one-way, you can use the needle here. The jersey needle, I tend to think that the jersey needle and the stretch needle are kind of interchangeable. Again, it depends on your fabric. Jersey needle is used on jersey fabric. That's your knit, your soft knits. And then again, the universal packet will include a stretch needle, a denim needle, the needle that you use on jeans, okay? When you go to the Sewcial website, one cool thing that you'll find, and you've probably seen this on social media, here is a chart, color code chart, that talks about, that shares with you the needle type and the needle size. It's a lot of detail, you can study it, but the needle type is the top color band on the needle. You got universal, stretch, all of the different areas that I just spoke about, all the way down to leather and microtex, my personal favorite. Quilting, embroidery, metallic, whether you're top stitching, there's all kind of needles based on what your project is. The second color band on the needle is your needle size. And most of your project, particularly garment projects, will make a recommendation on what type of needle based on what type of fabric that you're sewing. We've included a link to this chart in the description below, or you can go directly to the Sewcial website to download it yourself. And now I'll show you how to replace the needle in your machine. Okay, let's talk about changing the needle on the machine. The one thing I want to ask you to do is make sure, before you change your needle, make sure your presser foot is up and make sure your needle is in its uppermost position. If you have a machine that has a needle up or needle down button, make sure that needle up button has been pressed, or take your hand wheel and make sure that your needle is in its upright position before you change it. And here is the screw. Most of you have a key to go with your screw. I'm going to loosen it with my hand and take the needle out. Okay, I still got thread there. All right, the needles, you know this, they have a flat back and a rounded three sides. Okay, you want to make sure flat to the back. And if you don't remember, just make sure it rhymes, flat to the back. You want to stick it up in there, okay? All right, and I'm going to use my pointer to show you something. As you insert your needle into the shaft, see right there, you can see the needle head bobbing up and down. You want to make sure it's all the way up where you can see it. Hold it tight and straight, and then screw it very, very tight, and use your key to make sure it's tight. And you'll know that you put it in correctly. The flat side is to the back and the hole of the needle faces you, okay? And then you want to rethread and you're ready to sew. So now that we've put a new needle into the machine, let's go over a few things. Earlier, you may remember I mentioned that a microtex needle is my favorite. Let's talk about why you would have a favorite needle. So ask your machine, ask your fabric, what needle do you want? That means whenever you change your needle for a new project, take a scrap piece of your fabric and test the machine. Test the needle, test to see what stitch you want, whether it's a 2.5 stitch or you need to increase that stitch length, whether you're doing zigzag, flip the fabric over, make a buttonhole. Just make sure you are satisfied with the stitches that you're getting from that needle and that fabric. When using one of your favorite needles, my favorite is Microtex. It's a very strong, thin needle. I sew a lot of knits, I sew a lot of wovens, I sew a lot of delicate fabrics, and 9 times out of 10, that needle gives me satisfaction with my stitches and the fabric just kind of loves it. So one thing I want to make sure you do is test your fabric. If you're getting buckling, if your fabric is gathering, you want to make sure that you are making sure your settings are correct on your machine for that needle and fabric mix. If the thread is not behaving, you want to make sure that you are using a proper thread for that machine. If you're getting into some really complicated fabrics like leather and heavy denim, that's where you really want to study and test to make sure you're getting satisfaction out of your needle and the fabric. I hope you found this valuable. If you have any questions, any additional questions, just put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can be notified of any future videos that we have. Also, join the Top Stitch Makers communities for more sewing fun.